I want to switch gears a tiny bit, but not all that much. I was talking to a faculty colleague the other day, and she said it was like the third week of class, and she said the students had asked her for extra office hours already, and she wanted to say to them, like, why? You haven't even learned anything you could possibly have to talk about. So, I'm curious about how people around the table have handled student anxiety, and particularly, how have you managed to get students to relax enough in the classroom to have really free-flowing discussions? So, maybe one of you two or Logan, anybody.
So I'm happy to jump in because as Abby was talking, I was thinking about some of the things that we do in the class as well. So I try to structure my class based on the Castle's recommendations for social emotional learning. And so we generally start every lesson with a warm welcome. Mm-hmm. And that warm welcome is intended to be a connection activity as a way to build a learning community. Abby's nodding. Abby's like, yes, we do that too. Yeah. And so most of the time, I give the students an opportunity. I break them up into really small groups with just a partner or perhaps 3. And I generally pose 2 different questions. One is just about building relationships between themselves. So it might be, what's a jam that pumps you up and gets you ready to learn? Or what is one thing that you do when you feel overwhelmed? What's something that's working for you? And then the second question ties into what we may be talking about. So it's a little bit more priming their brain. But when they get to talk about themselves and things that they love, usually it's pretty easy for them to engage in those discussions. I've been known to also kick my students out of the classroom for this activity to say, we are very lucky to be close to the bridge to the main campus. And so I have invited the students on the promise that they will indeed come back to just give them 5 to 7 minutes to go take a stroll. They can go anywhere in the building just as a way to kind of ease into the conversations and ease into talking to one another. And so that's something that they seem to have responded really well to. And that's something that time and time again, they appreciate just having that space. And I do try to be a little bit sneaky with the activities too, that if I ask them a question of what's the jam that pumps you up, then if we're doing independent work, then guess what we'll be playing in the background, right? As my way of saying, hey, I see you. And these are not just empty questions. These are questions that are important to me. To Steve's point is bring your whole self and let me meet you where you are and try to kind of create the space where we can all co-construct our learnings together. So that's the premise of a warm welcome is a way to ease into it and to build a little bit of community. And other times when I have seen students be a little bit too agitated or too worried when they come in, sometimes we just take some 2 minutes and we watch videos of cute puppies frolicking and we all just kind of breathe together as a way to ease into our learning.
Thank you, Darren. It's great.
Yeah, I think coming from speech and teaching public speaking, I'm already in a class where the students are heightened anxiety. And there's definitely techniques to help deal with stage fright. But I think building a community in the classroom is the biggest thing to make them more comfortable when they speak, that they feel like they know the folks who are there. And I think one of the biggest watershed moments for me was a public speaking class I taught. It was like 5 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it was all nursing students who would get off of their rotation at the hospital and come over. And at first they were tired or they wanted to complain to one another. But after a while, we would start having conversations before class and I would not be so strict about the starting time. And they realized they could gross me out with their stories about what they discovered over the week. And it came into choosing speech topics. They would choose health topics or ones that they knew could make me uncomfortable in a productive way by showing off what they were learning. And that was one of the best classroom experiences that I had. And so I try to bring that. Every new class, you have to figure out who's in there, and the assignments are open to their interest. But I like to use the beginning of class to get them talking to me and to one another so that they feel like they know what the class looks like before we even start.